Thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry, I stepped away.
So how are you doing today?
I got into my garage. I thought that was pretty good.
Do you have to do a lot of snow removal before that?
No, you have to start off really fast and get momentum. And then there was a spot on the driveway that had no snow. So the tire caught it, and then you let up off on the gas, and the momentum pulls you up into the garage.
Sounds like a technical task to do there.
I know. I was just on the transportation board meeting, listening to, because they're going to be replacing our streets. Corey, do you want me to promote to everyone to panelist? Or do it like a board where we just allow them to talk at that time?
We'll just do them,
Like-
let them talk at that time
Okay.
when
Just
they
one-
raise their hand, or we're going to try to encourage them to use the chat.
Okay.
Hey, JR, nice work.
Thank you, Pat.
You saw I tweaked and moved some stuff around, did some different things, but
No, it looks good. I've got it loaded, so I'm ready to capture changes.
I think we use that and it's easy peasy instead of starting over again.
And I did start the recording in time as not to interrupt anybody.
Okay.
I don't know if it interrupts or not. It startles me because it jumps on the middle of the screen.
So we have several people rolling into the webinar.
Yes, currently we have 7 people, 7
How
attendees.
many do you have registered, do you know?
I think we had about a dozen register, but we, since the weather changed, we just pushed it out and gave everybody the passcode in our last communique. So we may have a bunch of people. We don't know.
Okay. As long as they don't bomb us. That's usually why we started registering folks, so we knew who was on there. So Corey, I don't know if you had time to look at the PowerPoint, but I assume we're good to go.
Yeah, I briefly scanned it.
Yeah.
I think what I thought I would find, and I found it somewhere else. So I think we're good.
Okay. Too late now.
Well, like I said, it's a work in progress.
Yep. But if nothing else, it gives them the kind of answers we're looking for, and that's the whole idea is, what do you want to add to this?
Right. Right. Or did we inadvertently leave something off? So we want to thank everyone for joining this webinar. We're going to wait a couple more minutes for everyone to get into the room, and we'll get started in just a couple of minutes. It'd be nice if Zoom had a collection of waiting music that you could play while you were waiting to start.
Right.
I guess we could bring our own music.
Yep. Pipe it in.
Mhm, mhm. All right, good evening, everyone. We appreciate you taking the time to continue our conversation about our integrated master plan. What we're going to be doing this evening is we're going to be coming back and making sure that we've captured thoughts and impressions from now some 12, 14 different focus group meetings that we've had. We had the first 4 or 5 the week of December 13th. The balance of them we've had since Tuesday of this week. These meetings have included outbound members of our community. They've also included some county staff in some of these inputs as well. Pat and JR attempted to synopsis the comments. They took similar comments and combined them what they thought were similar. So as they go through this, if you want to make a correction, addition, please use the chat feature. It helps us record that. And then after they go through their slides, we'll have a chance to open it up for comments for some verbal conversation as well. Our desire is not to debate the list, not that, we don't want to make a stand that you're for or against it. It's just to make sure we have the information. This information is going to be used for the statistically valid survey that's going to help us formalize some priorities in our community. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Pat and JR. And again, thank you so much for being a part of this process.
Yeah. Thank you, Corey. I'm Pat O'Toole. I am with Barry Dunn and project manager of this integrated master plan, which is going to look at parks, recreation, libraries, but also all the social services and try to get them in one place and to include those as we look at this plan. As Corey said, we're going to show you a summary list of things that we've heard the most of. We have combined items into one comment so that we're not here all night. But we do have everything verbatim. And the idea is that this is kind of a brainstorming session. And as Corey said, there's no right or wrong answers. So we're really not looking for editorials or what you like or don't like. We're looking to get as many things down and make sure that you have an opportunity to add your 2 cents worth on the different questions. So as we get into this, I'm not going to read these slides to you, but we're going to put them on the screen, and I'll scroll down through them fairly slowly so you can read them. And then what we're really looking for is for you to chat in your answers to those questions if you don't see them, or you can tell us what you like, what you don't see on there that you'd like to see on there. So with that, I'm going to let JR introduce himself while I pull up our PowerPoint.
Thank you, Pat. I'm J.R. Clanton. I'm a consultant with Barry Dunn. I specialize in parks, recreation, libraries, and finance. Prior to joining the firm, my most recent professional experience was I ran the Westminster Public Library for 5 years in Colorado. So really excited to be working on this project with you all.
Great. All right. Am I looking good, JR?
Yes, it looks
All right.
great.
Okay, so we're going to very quickly talk about our process and then get into the inputs that we've collected in December and then this week as well. We did a couple of strategic kickoff meetings last fall to kind of line out the project as well as the public input stakeholders as to how many we're going to do and virtual or on site. We were actually supposed to be on site this week, but had to go virtual. And this really highlights the 4 stages of public engagement throughout the process. So there's 4 that we're in stage 1, very beginning of the project. So we're looking for this public input through focus groups and stakeholders, and we will also put these things on the survey. We're going to do a statistically valid survey that will test these in the community. We are also going to take that exact same survey and put it online so that everybody in the community has an opportunity to fill that out. We'll tally them separately to protect the validity of the statistically valid, but also compare them and use both of them as tools. We typically find they're not that different. We also have a couple of landscape architects that are going to come into town sometime in March. We're looking hopefully the first week if your snow melts, to look at all of the community services assets, amenities in every park, facilities, and put them on GIS layers and utilize that GIS information to develop a level of service mapping system that will outline accessibility from rooftops to these areas and show which areas have a higher level of service and which have lower. We're also going to put a community profile and demographics package together. In each case of the survey and the inventory and the level of service analysis and the demographics, at the kickoff meeting, we decided we were going to, for good reason, have sub areas that include Los Alamos town site and the White Rock town site, and then we can have the county as a whole. But that way we can kind of look at the level of service differences in different pockets and be able to actually go back in and look at specific neighborhoods and walkability areas for those areas that might not have as much level of service, and see what kind of matches up with those demographics as to what amenities to have. We do a large trends package. We've done over 650 master plans across the country, and we also have a nonprofit research and development wing of our companies that actually tracks these things. And we have think tanks every other year with park and rec professionals that sit on the board, and we invite folks in, and it's really robust to look at what's going on across the country and all these types of activities, and really kind of see what fits in Los Alamos County. We will then get into stage 2 once we have all of those findings, is what we call them, and the analysis work done. We'll come in and present the findings in 2 visual sessions for our internal and external steering committees, but then also in a webinar like we're doing tonight. The first one will be, all the information on what we heard and the survey results, the demographics, and then the second one's going to concentrate on the inventory assessment and the level of service. And then we're going to finish up with a visioning workshop that basically we'll look at the level or the key issues that have come out of all the different methods that we've collected information. And a lot of that also comes from reviewing all the existing planning documents that are already exist there. And we're starting to put at that point some preliminary recommendations against those, and kind of get sign off from the county that we're on the right track, and that way we can come back and put our draft master plan together. And then stage 3 is to come back and in the same format present the recommendations. We'll have an action plan in place with the goals, objectives, and action steps, along with the costs, the capital costs, as well as the operational costs for the recommendations and a timetable for those recommendations. We will present that to the county for getting their opinions and edits on it. And when we get those back, we will create that final plan for adoption. And again, that will be at a public meeting, and we anticipate that being at a county commission meeting. And then the last step is implementation, which is the important part of being able to implement the plan. Okay, I'm going to let Corey go through some of the projects that are already in progress, as well as some input that in his first year at the director here has heard that we want to make sure we put on the list.
So I know many of you have already sat through some of our sessions. So if you'll just please bear with us on these couple of slides, just we know there's some people that are joining us for the first time. So we just want to bring everybody try to up to speed at the same time. So some projects we have on project. We have our ADA audit and transition plan that we're working on right now. This is, we've got one of the top vendors in the country that's doing that for us. We recently added new LED lights out at Brewer Arena. We put the electrical underground, so it's a lot cleaner and great view corridors. We've been having, we're in the middle, we just completed our focus groups in the Pueblo Canyon Conceptual Trail. This is looking at improving our trails in the Pueblo Canyon area with some skills parks in that area and some youth activities. Council recently approved our golf course improvements. That's moving forward. And then we're in the process of having a joint meeting with the school district board and our county council to have some conversations about a tournament quality tennis court site. This would be 6 to 8 courts that we can have tournaments up here on, ideally to allow our local high school, the Hilltoppers, to hold the district meet here. We haven't been able to do that due to some changes in state guidance. And then we're looking at some shared gymnasium space. There's one particularly up around the middle school. And then there's another one that we've got some design funding for down in the White Rock area. So we'll be working on those over the next couple of months to get those going. So I've been here about a year. Through that, I've reviewed a large group of documents. I've had talked to members of the community. And then one of the things I wanted to do was working with staff. I think we've already started with our team on incorporating community health in our library, as well as our parks, recreational, and cultural arts, to consider those in all aspects of our programming. We touch a lot of people. We impact a lot of people's lives, and we want to see where there's some natural connections of where maybe through an athletic program, we can connect you with potential mental health resources, or if you're having challenges in your life, you have resources, or maybe you have a challenge in your life and you need a diversion, and maybe there's a way to do that through a program or activity. So those things we're already kind of doing. Everything else is just as it is. It's words on a paper. That's it. There's nothing else that's been done with this, with the exception of the Tween Center. There's been a couple of looks at where could we put it, but everything else is just words on a paper. So we've heard about the ice rink, potential upgrades to Camp May, artificial turf on athletic fields, pickleball courts, a splash pad up here in the town site, an all abilities or boundless playground, exercise stations along trails. We're working with DOE and NNSA and been doing that for multiple years on a conveyance of that land. And there were conversations at the county level and with some citizen feedback about making that a recreation area. We want our actions to be sustainable and environmentally friendly. We have an opportunity to look at a master plan for North Mesa from the soccer fields down to the tennis courts. Some people remember that fondly as FEMAville. That's a great area. We have some parcels in White Rock that we're looking to put a master plan in. We've heard community members for a cricket pitch, community gardens, lighted playgrounds, and then we've got the Tween Center kind of on our radar as a conversation. And again, we've heard some additional items that we'll share with you here in a little bit. But again, just some items that we want to vet. The end result that I want to get out of this when we get to the end of the master planning process, my primary goal is to get a list of community projects, community services, and community programs that the community prioritizes. And from there, we can build action plans to make those programs, services, and facilities come to life. I hate when things kind of wallow around for multiple years. So this would give us an actionable item that's been vetted, and people can see where their item is on the list, and we're working towards it. So that's one of my big desires here. Thank you.
Thanks, Corey. So as we do our analysis, one of the things that we look at is the organization as a whole, the community services organization. And we look basically at 5 elements for a healthy system. Kind of look at what they're doing and why they're doing it, and who is involved in that and who it impacts. And if it's impacting anybody negatively, we certainly want to correct that. Looking at the community systems, particularly from the stakeholders and partners that assist in putting on those services. The inventory, again, to look at that from a level of service perspective. And then look at, as we put the master plan together, does it affect any procedures or policies or ordinances that might need to be adjusted? And then looking at fiscal resources and strategize on potential funding opportunities to make this thing happen. So tonight, in the beginning stages of this master plan, we're really looking at, what is the community services department doing, and is it working, and how can we improve that? And we had some questions that we went through with everybody, and tonight what I'm going to do is show you slides of those things we heard the most often in this group, or in all these groups. I'm going to show you an example of when we asked about what are the strengths of the community services department. And you'll see at the top, this is one of 2 slides. I think you'll get tired if I just start reading them to you, and you guys are I'm sure, good readers. I'll try to give you enough time per slide, but the whole idea is we want you to jump on chat, and if you see something that isn't there particularly, it's okay to get on there and tell something you like, but again, as long as it's on the list, and particularly the list that we're seeing tonight, that we're trying to get those things on the survey. So these are the top things we heard about the strengths of the department. And again, if I am moving too quick or I need to go back, you might throw that in the chat too, because JR is monitoring the chat, and he can give me the high sign to go back. All right, I'm gonna move forward on the second slide of strengths. Okay, so anything you'd like to add to those? I'll flip back to the first one here. Maybe. Here we go. And the second one again. Dare let me know if anybody needs to go back. We also asked the flip side of what's the strength of the community services department, which are the challenges, areas of improvement, so to speak. So again, we got three slides of challenges here that I'll give you time to read and make your chats, and then I'll hit all three of them here. All right, we're going to slide 2 of 3 for the challenges.
And I am, people who are putting comments in the chat, I am taking them and making notes and adding them to our collection. So Maury made a comment about county funding of some social services via not-for-profits being a strength, and I'm going to make sure we add that in.
Great. Thank you. All right, we're going to slide 3 of challenges. And also might add, if there's something on there that you don't quite understand, put that in the chat and we'll try to get that answered. Okay, I'm going to move forward and next question we asked were, what are some additional programs, activities, and services you'd like the community services department to offer? And again, we've got 3 slides of these of what we heard the most of. We'd love your input as well.
Pat, if I could just jump in right quick, I believe Courtney sent a chat through about lack of accessible spaces. Courtney, we're working on that one with our AD audit and transition plan. That audit, they're actually physically going to all of the outdoor recreation facilities that we have, as well as our indoor facilities, and they're specifically looking at how can we make those more accessible. So thank you for that comment, and we're working on that one as we chat.
Thanks, Corey. Okay. Go on to the second slide of additional programs and activities and services. And the third slide. Any new types of programs or activities that you didn't see on there that you'd like to see, we'd love to hear. Okay, we'll move on to our next question was what types of new facilities or amenities you'd like to see in Los Alamos County? And that's always a popular subject. So we've got 4 slides on that. All right, get on to number 2 here.
So we have a clarification question from JJ on what is digital citizenship. So it's a conversation about making sure that all of our citizens are computer savvy. We see a lot of challenge in this, particularly with our older adults, where they may have challenges with a smartphone or an iPad or digital device, so that they can keep in touch with their grandchildren or youth that they're close to. So this would be making sure that one, our older citizens have that ability to use that device, and then to ensure that that maybe folks that are not as affluent have access to things like broadband and computers for learning and so forth. So that's what digital citizenship is.
Great, thanks, Court. All right, we'll move on to slide number 3 of new facilities and amenities. And we'll add that turf fields as artificial turf fields. And the last slide on facilities and amenities. Okay, and moving on, our next question that here are the answers to are, what improvements would you like to see? So not new facilities, but on what you have and what already exists. We've got a couple of slides on that. A lot of focus on take care of what's already there and maintain that. And the second slide of improvements. Again, if you'd like to add anything to those lists, chat them in, please. We asked, are there any portions of Los Alamos County that you feel are underserved by the Community Services Department? And these are the answers that we got so far. Got 2 slides. And the second slide. Okay, any additional underserved population or demographic areas, please chat them in. And we'll move on to, we asked what are some new key partners and stakeholders that could assist with implementation of this master plan. And we have 3 slides of those. Slide 2. And the 3rd slide. So any additions, let us know those. And we asked about key issues and values in Los Alamos County that we need to recognize in this master plan. We got 2 slides of the key issues and values. And the second slide. Okay, next, we asked, what are the priorities? So if this plan can't have everything in it, what are those priorities you'd like to see? And we have 4 slides of those. And the second slide. third slide. And the last slide of priorities. Okay, that is the input we have tonight so far, other than yours, and we will add yours to these lists as we look to get the survey going. Very quickly, the next steps are, well, tonight's webinar, which we are doing now, the inventory assessment in March, then the statistical valid survey and online surveys towards the end of March, and then the virtual finding presentations in April that we talked about. So with that, I'm going to let Corey open it up for any additional questions. I think we got everything down that was chatted in, and we appreciate your time here, and we'll hang around for some Q&A.
Linda, do we have anyone that would like to ask a question or provide input?
I do not show any hands raised.
Okay. Well, I want to thank everyone for taking the time this evening. I know many of you have been through some of our other focus group meetings. One thing I do want to add is between COVID and the snow, we haven't been able to talk to our youth. So talking to our youth about these same questions is something that we still have on our radar. So we're still trying to do that. We're going to be trying to do that in the next couple of weeks. So we do realize that that's an important group. Thanks, Kevin, for clarifying that question. So again, as he said, our next steps is to take this information. Again, if you think of something, if you have one of those epiphanies at 2 o'clock in the morning, or go, darn, I wish I'd have said that, send me or Linda an email, and we'll make sure that JR and Pat get the information. Again, this is pretty early on, so the next big thing we'll see in our community is the two surveys, the one that's statistically valid and then the open community survey, which will be the same. So those will be great additional opportunities. Again, we're working to touch as many people as we can here, since we do know that our community is very active in this. So thanks again for your time. One more time, Linda, is there anybody that wants to say anything? I just put my email in the chat. If not, appreciate your time. Stay warm and be safe out there.
Thank you all.
Thank you again. Everyone take care.
Thank you all.